We, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, to establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity, do ordain and establish this Constitution for the United States of America. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I won't change your little town. Your own children will. Your children will see us. Your children will love us. And your children will join us. I won't change your little town.
Yeah. What? Your children will see us. They'll join us. They'll love us. Rev, you know what's interesting about this whole thing? You know, it's totally not an anti-gay thing, right? But let's just break it down. You've got the transgenders, which are separate from the gays, and then you have the actual literal men that don't even claim to be transgender. They just dress up as women in drag, you know, for fun on the weekend or whenever they've got a day. Dude, make it make sense. Make this make sense to me.
So here's how it makes sense is people that I guess enjoy the gay or homosexual lifestyle. You know, you can consider that a mental health issue or not, but that's just generally what they do, not who they are. But there was a time in this nation that we kept the crazy people in the back room. We kept the crazy people in the basement. There was a time that we had actual asylums for dealing with people like this who couldn't be trusted in society, who couldn't be trusted to behave according to the boundaries of social predicate. And instead, we've glorified these people. And now we're watching the train wreck results of that. All of the people that before we would never allow out in the public to speak All the people that we were embarrassed by, we're now putting them on the microphone.
Can I
And-
make a
and
point too? When
that-
I don't mean to cut you off, but
No, go ahead. That's what we're saying. That's how I was winding it up.
yeah, you've got me on something though. I mean, let's talk about the population numbers for a second. I mean,
Mhm.
because here, this is the type of behavior, as you're saying, that is being pushed down our throats and condoned. They're forcing delusion onto our reality, right? You're saying is these people are walking amongst us. They're not in mental homes as they used to be, and they seem to be running the show. Well, you have Chuck Schumer, who comes out literally 2 or 3 days ago talking about how Americans are not having kids. Chuck Schumer says Americans aren't having kids. This is a terrible thing. So what we need to do is we need to fast track these asylum seekers into getting them full citizenship. That way they can help reproduce more American citizens for us. So hold on, that's crazy in itself. But here's this for the hot take. Look what you're doing to the American citizens. You're forcing an ideology upon young American kids that, hey, being straight in the normal traditional family Christian values, no, there's no God. We're God. We make the rules. That's what they're saying. But yet, when these kids that they've indoctrinated over the course of a decade and a fucking half finally are rolling with their system, and all these kids, like, dude, you can't, 30% of these teens are gay. Almost. I mean, damn near it. Damn near 30%. So look, what I'm trying to say is you point the finger and then you say, well, oh, Americans aren't reproducing, and use that as an excuse to allow illegals to come in. But the reason Americans aren't reproducing, Rev, is because they're being force-fed that LGBTQ lifestyle is the one that they need to adopt. And it's and I'll end with this. I'll yield to you. They really don't even have a say in the matter, because if you were a first grader and you went to school on day one and they told you that the sky is fucking red, then for the rest of your life you'd walk around thinking that blue was red. You wouldn't have known any better, because on day one that's how you were taught. Right? You get what I'm saying? If they're hitting you from first grade with a pride flag, by the time you're a senior in high school, you're wired. They've completely fucked with the wiring.
All right. So here's the bigger picture. And this is all provable and documented for anybody that wants to take the time to go and look. There is a action, I guess you would call it, called color revolution. And what it is it's these processes that back in the day the CIA used to use to destabilize the nation, to overthrow a government. If they destabilize the society, then they can overthrow the government and without war. And what we're watching right now is we're watching color revolution being applied to the entirety of Western culture, not just in the United States, but everywhere that advanced culture exists. And here's the thing about it is, and this is where you can go look at the ADL, the Southern Poverty Law Center, the National Endowment for Democracy, the Open World Society, George Soros's group. You go look at all of these people, and you'll find that all of their money comes from the same places and goes to the same places and is all behind this. It's just like we've noted in the past that, when the riots have happened and everything else, that there's paid actors, there's agitators who are paid to go in and get people stirred up. There's people that are paid, they're bussed in and paid to actually be the rioters as well. And that's where all of this is coming from. And people like Chuck Schumer are part of the planning board. They're part of it. They're taking money for it as well. All of these Soros funded AGs, like the ones that have been going after Trump, this is all part of the color revolution. This is all geared towards throwing out the Constitution of the United States and enslaving all of us. Exactly. And I want to be clear about this, because this isn't hyperbole. This isn't theory or speculation. It is literally and exactly step by step to what they did to Germany to make way for the rise for Nazi Germany.
Well,
Literally, step by step.
And another historical reference too would be the Roman Empire, right? The Roman Empire was one, when it fell, that started to become obsessed with pushing societal norms, and they
Right.
even had the transgender thing happening back
Right.
then. This isn't
Stalin-
brand new.
Stalin did it. Mayo did it. You know, whether, and here's the thing is so many people are caught up with this argument, you know, fascism versus communism. Well, listen up, Buttercup. They're both the same.
Yeah,
They're both the same. Communism is an ideal that never has existed except for on paper. The process and outcome is always fascism, is always authoritarianism. And all of the weak people that think they're screaming for something better are really screaming for their own captors and screaming for their own executioners. And it's history has proved it out over and over again. And we're watching the same exact playbook now, literally step by step. I mean, there's
I would
nothing.
agree.
There's
agree.
nothing distinguishable between the two.
And what's crazy is when you look at the obsession of this movement, and I do want to separate gay people from the trans and drag conversation, just because, like, look, I personally don't believe that this is a gay thing. When you have it certainly is a gay thing, but there's levels to gay. Like, you know, a lot of good gay conservatives, I'm sure, or at least a couple.
The majority, especially in my line of business,
Yes, you're right. The
of
majority
people,
are. I'm not going to fight that.
the,
You're right.
yeah, well, here's the thing is the majority of the people who they don't identify as gay, they just are gay. They identify as, you know, I know men who are I mean, just as gay gets, you know.
Yeah.
They're married to other men, but if they didn't tell you, you would have no idea because they don't
Right.
make it their identity. It's
Right.
just something they do. And here's the thing is even like I know a couple right now who are two women trying to be trans men. So they're going from lesbian to
Gay.
gay, queer. I'm not even sure what describes what anymore. This is how stupid
Right.
this has gotten. But when they come in and talk to me, they say the same thing too. Like they don't buy into all of this garbage, because there's one thing about living your life and enjoying what you want to do or not do or whatever. And then there's another thing of having an overtop mental health issue. And I truly believe, and this may offend some people, but I truly believe that, and especially my experiences in life, that all of it is different levels of mental health. But the reality is that living life in general, even as a straight male heterosexual, still comes with its mental health issues. So there's what's dangerous and then what's not dangerous. And the left, this color revolution ball game that they're playing, is glorifying the most dangerous, the most mentally unstable among that community, and it even offends everybody else in the community.
I agree with that. I do agree with you. I want to raise it, or just go even a step deeper, because those, like, today in 2024, they're hitting the kids hard, right? And these kids are becoming trans or gay at such a young age, they don't even realize the decisions that they're making or what they're even saying. When you look at the adults in the last 20 years and how things have gone, like those adults that weren't indoctrinated, but the 40-year-olds now who were going through school in the 1990s, early 2000s, like obvious mental health issues. And now what you have is like the whole situation that I said. This is why you got to keep them away from kids, because now they're getting these kids so young that the kids don't even know. They have no idea. Look at this here. This lady's got all these kids. This lady's got, let me see. She's got all these members. Oh, look at this, Rev. This is nuts.
We had a happy first Pride, didn't we, boys? Not first Pride. First Pride is me as trans, but they had a happy Pride, right?
Yeah.
Yeah? They're tired.
Y'all
Very happy Pride.
Yes, happy Pride.
I'm going to let you all know, because there's seem to be some people that don't like us celebrating Pride. Honey, I'm proud of trans women, and I have to be proud. because often more time.
All right, hold on. She says she's a happy trans woman. So I don't want to step over you, but I have to. Look, it's all a facade. To your point of mental health, these people are fucking miserable. And let's just call it what it is. Most of them are invisible to society. They can't be seen. They're not heard. Sorry about it. That's kind of the fucking truth. You then have this woman. Take a look. I'm not going to play the audio again, but how happy does this car look? How happy do they all look? Oh, we had a happy first day of Pride. Oh, yeah, she looks overjoyed. Oh, my, she can barely fit in the fucking seat. And this father here, he's got his kids for the weekend. No, I'm mom this weekend. Look at this fucking dude. Damn, bro.
So
damn.
Here's the thing about it. I got two things to say, especially when you go back to the first train wreck that you played of the idiot standing there giving the speech.
Yeah.
They say outright they're coming after our kids.
Yeah.
They say it outright. There comes a point when Americans are going to start reacting violently about this. That if we keep tolerating it, it's just going to get worse. But here's the other thing is, and this is the truth about these people, is that they are miserable. They are, and the majority of them, there is a big crossover for drug addicts as well. And the thing that we notice about, like with the criminal minded people, and particularly the drug addicts and the criminals, they suffer from levels of mental health issues as well. And it comes down to things like compulsion control. They literally can't control themselves. Many of these people know that the things that they are doing are wrong or disgusting, but they have these compulsions programmed in, and they can't control themselves. They're going to do it anyway.
Yeah. What's a shame is you take a look at a video like this, the parents, look at all the parents cheering it on. They're cheering it on. You know, to your point that you made before, with 7 billion people on the planet, like, folks, 7 billion people on the planet, 350 million-ish here in the country. And that population has increased over the last 40 years since the 80s. So the population has no doubt increased inside the country in the past 40 years, but yet somehow, some way, the mental institutions and the existence of these entities has diminished. So you're telling me then, as the population has grown, we've got less crazy people walking around? No, that's not the case. You see, because here they are right here. They're walking around still, but now their behavior is idolized, put on a pedestal, and being broadcasted to children across the freaking country. Now, I don't blame the drag queen. I don't blame the transgender, actually. I blame these parents that are sitting here allowing this type of behavior to happen and allowing their children to see it, because crazy is crazy. And if you give a mouse a cookie, it's going to ask for a glass of milk. Sorry about it. That's the way it works. Zelensky keeps asking for money because we keep giving it to him. So these transgender drag queens, whatever the fuck you want to call them, they want to be around kids and be pedophiles all day long. And you're letting them do it. In fact, you're cheering the behavior on. It's absolutely insane that we've gotten to this point. And imagine if you saw this on the news just as much as in 2004, even 2014, 10 years ago, you would have been like, what the fuck, if you saw this happening? Hey, sorry for the language, but that's what you would have been saying. And there was a time in my lifetime, there was a time when the majority of the behaviors that these people are committing now would have got them landed in jail. And here's the reality. I want everybody to think about this. What we tolerate now becomes normal to the next generation. Moral values do not stand if we keep tolerating. Anything that is evil, no matter how great the justification, no matter how great the argument.
evil is still evil. So tolerating evil for the sake of tolerance is destroying this nation.
You went from
No
gay
more-
marriage to being allowed to this in literally 12 years.
Yes. And if we allow this, then what's next? If we allow
Exactly.
them to kill babies all the way up until and right after birth, what's next after that? Can we just start shooting each other in the streets? Because that's where we're heading. That's where this nation is heading. Let's be real about this. All of this going on is exactly where we're heading. We're heading to a complete destabilization of society, and this is what they want. So I want to be clear to everybody. We may see a complete societal breakdown. We absolutely might. I mean, it's in the cards. That's what they're playing for. But the one thing that saves us, no matter what we face, is unity. Everybody has to start coming together and being brothers and sisters before this nation again, if at least not brothers and sisters before God, because our unity is our strength. 100% of our power is when we stand together. If we stay divided into petty tyranny and petty tribalism, then we'll get nothing. We're easily defeated in small groups. But when we stand together, whether by voice or by gun, we can't be defeated.
I agree. All right, I've got some more stuff for you here. I want to show you I don't know if she's Democrat. Senator Joni Ernst. I don't know if you know her. I don't actually know much about her or even what state she's a senator in. Regardless of the point, here she is on a hot mic today. I don't know if looks like maybe Ted Cruz. Not sure. Oh no, definitely not Ted Cruz. All right, let's listen to what she gets caught on the hot mic.
Bottom line, never trust a man whose uncle was eaten by cannibals.
You hear that?
Bottom line,
I
never
did.
trust a man whose uncle was eaten by cannibals.
Never trust a man whose uncle was eaten by cannibals.
I like her already.
And Rev, to give some validity to this, the people are voicing their opinions. You see the polls are tragic for Joe Biden, but the representatives of government are also fed up. I mean, the cat's out of the bag. Joe Biden's completely clueless at all times. And the people know it. The people know it, and the representatives of this country know it as well. And it'll really be interesting to look back and see who stuck their neck out for this fucking retard, and to see how long that they did, knowing the issue.
So you want to know?
Well, here, let me play this poll video and then let you react right after.
Trump is up 15 points on the economy.
15
So
points.
solid 15, that is double digits. Prices are up 19% under President Biden, and Trump has made that a fixture of his campaign. So when asked which candidate is better to handle the economy, look here.
Ooh.
Trump is up 21 points in the third line, the Marquette poll. Biden's only polling at 29%, and he's up double digits in these three other major polls. Voters do not give Biden much credit for the positives on the economy, like low unemployment. Trump leads by 14 points on both the economy and
Probably because unemployment's not low.
So here's the thing. Unemployment is up because people have to work to keep the bills paid. There are a lot of people now that are having to pull multiple jobs to keep their bills paid. There's a lot of people who have to decide, should I buy medication or should I buy food? There are people who are having to say, well, I'm just going to have, bread or cereal so that my kids can have a regular meal because I can't afford to do all of it. That's where we're at now. And I want you to consider all of that together. I mean, we all know, we all have seen what happens when you get to the cash register at the grocery store, what's happening at the fuel pumps, everything else. We're all seeing it. You can't shine that story in any way. But here's the real litmus test of all of this. You want to see what the political turn is. So we have a nation of people who are having trouble paying their bills and getting through life. That's how bad things are getting. And we're not even officially in a recession yet because they're whitewashing that crap too. But you put all that together and then you consider this. You consider this, that since Trump's indictment, he has raised over $200 million. $200 million raised on people donating $50 or less. $50 or less, he has raised $200 million. In the first 24 hours, since his indictment, he raised $53.8 million. In 24 hours, $53.8 million. And in this entire time, over $200 million and still rising. The Trump campaign page is just going through the roof. The website's having trouble keeping up with all the transactions. And the reality is that the polls are always skewed. The polls are always controlled by leftists. And they always have been. And we all know that. We've been watching this happen. And none of these polls are honest in the slightest. They've been given to us by people who have an agenda or a perspective. And here's the thing here's the thing. When you look at the litmus test, you look at how far these polls are showing now. I mean, think about how much they're trying to hide. If they're willing to show as much as 29 points discrepancy between the two candidates,
Right.
How much are they really hiding? And then you look at the litmus test of how much money the Trump campaign has been growing in this short amount of time. And it tells you that a heck of a lot more Americans are pissed off than they want to admit to. And that's the reality.
Not only that, Donald Trump created a TikTok account this weekend. And
oh God, amen. Yeah.
Yeah, he's got over 4 million followers, might even be over 5 right now. Joe Biden doesn't even have 400,000, and he's had his account since last year. So, I mean, the writing is on the wall. If Joe Biden were to somehow pull out 81 million votes, I mean, at that point in time, we got to demand all 81 million stand up. At least just identify yourselves. Tell us who voted for Joe Biden, because there's just no way.
Here's the thing I think everybody should recognize about this piece of information is that TikTok caters to
the libs.
To the libs, but predominantly to the younger generations, to the Gen Z and all of those groups. And I mean, consider that. How many people in that generation are following Donald John Trump?
Well, that's good. We need that.
The tide is turning. They see, because here's the other side of it is, I mentioned the idea of what we tolerate now becomes normal to the next generation. Well, we've gotten to the point, and I want you to consider this because this is an indictment on the rest of us. We've gotten to the point that Gen Z, who has no experience of the things in the world that we've experienced, they have no understanding of how great things can be. They only know the garbage that they see, and they have put out an indictment on us by saying that, hey, this is not acceptable. We don't like this. We need to get back to moderate thinking, to centrist ideals and problem solving. Kids that have no clue whatsoever what the world can be are saying that. Even people that have no understanding are saying, hey, this isn't going to work. They know it. It's written on their hearts by the very one who created them. They know that this isn't going to fly.
Yeah. The people are waking up, man. I mean, look, this is who we got in there. This is today.
I've come here today to do what the Republicans in Congress refuse to do. Take the necessary steps to secure our border. I've come here today.
What? And let me point out again, divisive as all hell. You can't really understand what he's saying, but he's saying something about Republican Congress couldn't get it done. Bro, Rev, it is kind of funny. Like, wake up and smell the coffee, sunshine. Republicans are the ones who want law and order. Republicans are the ones who want a secure border.
No.
Yeah,
No.
Yes, there is, because there are certain things. There are certain things in these clauses.
I'm gonna argue with you because we have a problem.
Openly do come out and say, you know what? I agree with Joe Biden suing the state of Texas. I don't think that there's one that would say that.
No, I don't agree with that. But what I'm saying is that you made the statement that Republicans want this, Republicans want that. We need to face the facts that many of the people in the Republican Party are part of the Democrat terrorist network as well. No wonder we can't get anything done. And then on top of it, these are the kind of people that will be riding their bicycle, stick a stick in their front wheel, and say, "Oh my God, it's all Trump's fault or somebody else's fault. It's always somebody else's fault." And here's the thing is the entire game is far beyond who wants what or doesn't want what. It's not a team sport. This is, I mean, we have corruption across the board. And I don't mean to cut you off, but I think
it's
important.
fine. It's a good discussion.
I think it's
All I'm
important
saying
that
is
that we recognize this.
Yes, 100%. They're the rhinos and they need to be washed out, and I'm with you. However, generally speaking, when you align parties with the stereotypes, the Republican Party stereotype aligns with a wall, secure border, right? In sense of your everyday Joe, you know, I get what you mean inside Congress is what's happening on Capitol. I get what you're saying, but the ideology of secure borders isn't a Democrat ideology. That's a conservative Republican way of thinking, but they spin it as if no, the Republicans are the ones who want all this invasion to continue happening. And you've heard it for a while. I need the money. The issue is when there's not single subject spending, and you can't just write a bill that is going to directly take care of the border. It's so hard to audit where these funds are being allocated. How's money being spent? What kind of results are we getting based off of what targets? You know, in large part, legislation and spending is a business. It becomes its own little entity with a committee that runs it, right? It has targets. It's got to get results. There's spending that comes in. But under this administration, there's been a lack of business savvy when it comes to taking on these initiatives and projects. But
Are you saying that AOC is not a business mind? That's astounding.
I know. It is astounding. But you know, I want to play one more video of Joe Biden.
Politics with the war. What was that? I asked her.
Oh my God. It's so alarming that man is the one who is in sole control of the red nuke button. I mean, let's face it, he's not. But
right,
how they try to pass this guy off as mentally or physically fit for office is absurd. You don't have to like Trump. You don't have to vote for Trump even and be a Trump voter, but you got to look in the mirror. You got to look in the mirror and say, this guy that's currently the guy, not gonna fly for another 4. What are they? No. So, Rev, could you answer me? You're a smart guy, though. Like, what options do they actually have? Like, is Michelle Obama an option? Is Gavin Newsom an option? Is there a wild card? Because, like, after these debates, like, you look at movements like this, Donald Trump is going to call these physical characteristics out and the lack thereof, I should say. But what do you think, bro? I mean,
so I think this time around that this is no longer a candidate's brand or a politician's brand in jeopardy. We are now watching the entire Democrat brand is in jeopardy. They destroyed the entire brand. The Democrats have actually Bud Lighted themselves. That's actually a verb now. To be Bud Lighted that's a verb. So I don't think there's anybody. I mean, I've contemplated this as well. If they put Newsom up, I mean, just the fact that Newsom is Pelosi's nephew, and many of the things that he's done, he'll never be able to walk through on that, because even a lot of Californians, blue voting Californians aren't happy with him either. So that dog's not going to hunt. if they put up Big Mike, then the issue that it is in fact Big Mike and not Michelle is going to be a solid roadblock to any political discourse that they might try to have.
Right.
And I mean, there's nobody else beyond that I see with any kind of name recognition. Because think about this: if they do this, they're and that's the speculation, is that they're going to do that at the convention. Well, you got 3 months. How are you going to pull any kind of votes in 3 months? Now, consider this: pull any kind of votes in 3 months and be able to pull off any kind of a steal in the face of the landslide that is going for Donald John Trump. I mean, think about this.
Answer that question.
Yeah.
Can I answer that question?
I don't know. Can you?
Yeah, I want to give it a go real quick. I don't believe that they will replace Joe Biden. I think that it's too late. I think it's too far gone. So in the event that Biden flops in a terrible way, there's a side of me that does think, will they just not hand this over to Trump, but accept the results that happen, which will be Trump winning, take a back seat for 4 years, reload, and then come out firing flamethrowers in 2028, taking out everybody that's popular or gives it a is that in the playbook for that? Look, I don't know. Maybe I'm being crazy. Will Democrats ever rest? Chances are probably not. But you got to ask the question. It just doesn't seem like a winnable battle for them right now, Rev. It seems like no matter what they do, unless they take the man out completely, which isn't going to happen, but no matter what they do, Trump gets more popular, goes up in the polls. Biden fucks up on camera, slip. Do they just give it to the man?
I don't think there's a hope in hell no matter which way. Sometimes you sit at the card table and you just don't have a single good card left in your hand. You have no hope of winning whatsoever. And that's where we're at now for the Democrat Party. They have no good cards left. It doesn't matter. If Biden, not Biden, anybody else, doesn't matter. The entire brand is shot. The card table is folded. And the only hope they have left, and this is the one that scares the hell out of me because these people literally are this dangerous, is that they're going to flip the card table. And by flip the card table, I mean the United States. Here we are, the Biden regime, all the people that are handling Biden have now said that we're going to have direct conflict with Russia. It's no longer going to be a proxy war through Ukraine. Now we're going to have a direct war. Yeah. Actually, if you go to my profile, I just put up an article about that. I'm gonna pull that up, but I think this is a really good introductory to the topic, right? Because no matter where we do send troops, like if we send them to Norway, where are they going? If we send them here, where are they going? If we send them here, like, you get what I'm trying to say. I don't mean to interrupt, but go ahead. Well, here's the bigger consideration is that we've now, and by we I mean the Democrat terrorist network, and anybody that wants to argue that title with me, give it a shot, but you're going to lose. I stand on my understanding of the evidence before me. The Democrat terrorist network, all of them together, have pushed for this, and they've come out and they said that not only are we going to fight in Ukraine, because Ukraine has depleted itself of military age men to indoctrinate as soldiers. So
isn't the average age in their 50s, in the late 50s, right? Rev? It's like almost 60 years old.
Right. So here's the issue, though, is not only are we going to send ourselves over and NATO to interact directly against Russia, which is a huge mistake. And nobody to this day has justified why we should be fighting for Ukraine to begin with. I mean, other than what we know to be true, that's Biden's, the Democrats, laundering, money laundering and drug laundering and sex trafficking, honeypot. But here's the thing about it is they also come out, Blinken and the rest of them come out and made statements about, we're going to take long range missiles over to Ukraine and we're going to start shooting missiles into Russia's interior. I mean, think about that. Putin has been very clear with us, with the entire world, that if this goes nuclear, he's got one button to hit and missiles are going at everybody. But in direct response to this, he's also said that if the United States sends missiles into Russian territory, then Russia will be sending missiles into American territory. That means American citizens and American combatants are going to be harmed just as much as Russian citizens and non-combatants are going to be harmed. What the United States of America is doing is starting crimes against humanity on a level that's going to end up equaling Hitler.
You know what's a really bad idea? In my opinion, a really bad idea is ignoring the enemy.
Yeah.
Ignoring the enemy. Like, for instance, the Cold War. How many years? Like,
yeah.
Okay. Because of lack of communication in large part. When Trump was in office, he talked to Kim Jong-un. He's talked to Putin. He talks to Xi. Guys, like, wouldn't you want to be in friendly, open communication with the other leaders of the powerhouse countries, communist or not? You want that open line of communication, especially if they've got the nuke buttons also. Like, doesn't that just make sense? Like, you'd want that back and forth. But we have a president now who looks at Donald Trump and uses that, what we view as a strength, and uses it as a weakness, saying, oh, you talk to Putin not because of an open line of communication. No, because you're evil and you're on the same page as Putin. Maybe you're doing business in Moscow. Who knows? You remember he said that during the debates. Look, when you don't have open, strong, clear lines of communication, especially amongst your powerhouse leadership among countries, of course shit's going to go left. You think Biden is talking to Putin about Ukraine? Why? Of course not. That's why this thing hasn't been resolved. Why hasn't Biden sat the both of them down? Well, we know why, because Biden's making money off the war. But look, I'm not sitting here. I'm not going to claim that ending the war in Ukraine is going to be very easy. All I'm trying to say is, I wonder where some good old fashioned conversation would have gotten us if Biden would have just sat Zelensky down and sat Putin down and tried to figure this thing out.
Oh, no. Zelensky and Putin a long time ago had actually come to a peace agreement and the war was going to stop. It was Biden who specifically said, no, you're not allowed to do that. We're going to have more war.
Obsessive, right? It's like they're obsessed. Yeah. They're obsessed with war.
Well, the globalists have decided, and they've written books about this. This is the thing I find astounding, is these people have written books, written letters, done interviews, everything else, explaining that this is their plan, that they're planning on another World War III, that it's a depopulation event, that it's going to realign the political structure of the world. That's what they're going to use it for. They want to destroy the United States and all of actually Western culture. The UK, everybody else as well. They want to break us down to where we're so impoverished and demoralized that we'll accept anything if we could just have peace and quiet again. That's their goal, and Biden is part of it. And the idea that the American people, or the people who still love our nation, don't recognize what these people are actually doing is astounding to me, because these people literally are traitors. These people literally are committing treason. Anybody who takes money from the National Endowment for Democracy is a traitor to the United States of America. Anybody who takes money from the Open World Society George Soros is an active traitor against the United States of America. Anybody who votes for and supports any of these people or policies are active traitors to the United States of America. This isn't hyperbole. This isn't political, grandstanding. This is a factual truth. People that have declared themselves the enemy of the United States have people in the United States giving them comfort and aid. The literal definition of treason.
Something crossed my mind as you were talking there. Not to reel Trump back into this conversation, but I had a connection. So, you know how there tends to be issues, maybe not so much anymore, but there still is probably some issues in the demographic of voters for Trump, like the mothers, the white woman, right? Like they're not voting for Trump. That's the stereotype. The moms aren't necessarily Trump people. So for all you moms out there that might not be for Trump, how could you be for Biden knowing that he's willing to send your kids, if they're in the service, overseas to fight for a non-NATO, non-ally country, to fight in a war with no objectives, no targets, no plan, no end goal, to fight for a war for a country who, let's face it, I mean, the way Ukraine became sovereign was corrupt in itself. I'm not going to give you the whole history lesson. Just dive down that rabbit hole. Man, what are those? How do those moms feel? Not good. You don't want your baby boy or girl going to Ukraine right now. Hell no. Hell no. Elections, like these elections have consequences. And I know that's a two-part statement. Like, oh, well, if they're real, if they're fake, and Trump should have won and we wouldn't be in this mess. But man, these are jaw-dropping. This is jaw-dropping analysis. Like, these are the reasons why we have to encourage everybody, our neighbors, our friends, and our families to get to the voters box this November. Do not sit this one out.
No, it's more than that. Actually, it's a lot more than that. We need to have a talk with these moms. We need to wake them up to the reality. We need to have a talk with our family members, with everybody else. Simple concepts like the idea that we should be able to hold our politicians accountable to their oath, which right now we can't. They somehow, once they're elected, they have sovereignty beyond their oath, which makes no sense under the Constitution. That idea is actually repugnant to the Constitution. We should be able to talk to mothers about the idea that, you can have all of these emotions and mood swings and menopause and all this stuff that you deal with that causes your mind to somehow not consider basic logic, but none of that's going to matter when you can't feed your baby, where you're out working 2 jobs, 3 jobs, and can't interact with your own child because you're too busy. Or like Chris pointed out, when we're, sending all of our children off to wars that were never our wars to begin with, that we're having people killed just because it's somehow convenient to a handful of elitists who don't care about anything, particularly us. And here's the thing about it is that all of us that are already voting Trump, we're already voting Trump. Mm-hmm. I mean, you can have a little more attitude when you vote Trump, but it's still a vote for Trump. What we need is we need to draw everybody else in. We need a message of hope. You have to speak in hopeful terms and let everybody know that, hey, our family, our brotherhood, sisterhood, all of that is more important than all of the petty things that we have to fight about. We need to stand together, come over to this side, and let's get this nation right again. And then, just like brothers and sisters, if we got to get out in the front yard and scrap it out like we used to in the good old days, then so be it. Mm-hmm. But let's keep it our house first. Let's keep it our yard first. Let's keep it our nation first. That has to be the message, because we need a landslide far beyond anything that they can try to cheat or steal or anything else. We need to get this nation straight. Now, even if you're a Democrat voter and you want to support your Democrat ideas, as low IQ as they might be, then you know what? You want your Democrat representatives to be accountable to you, don't you? Wouldn't you? If you're a Democrat, wouldn't you want to be able to say, hey, Democrat representative, do what we want or we will kick you out? And the same thing for Republicans. We have
The
so
issue
many
is it's about feelings, not results. Do they care? Do they say the
Right.
right thing? Are they feeling generated? You know,
But the message has got to be that even if you want to vote about your feelings, don't you want representatives who are going to represent your delicate little feelings? Don't you want someone who's going to do what you want to do instead of continually lie to you election season after election season, lie to you, make promises to you, and then never do any of them? Don't you want representatives that you can say, hey, you broke your oath, you're gone, goodbye, you're over, we're going to put someone else in. And if they break their oath, they're gone, goodbye, they're over. And the same thing for us as Republicans. I mean, these are ideas that we should be able to unite around on both sides of the fence. Hold your representatives accountable. Whether we agree on what they should or shouldn't do doesn't matter. Let's hold them accountable to their oaths first. And that's how we find our unity.
I think that you're going to start to see record-breaking numbers in the votes for the congressional representatives. Sounds like we got an echo. But Rev, I want to bring you over to another topic real quick. So we'll close out with this one. Federal prosecutors entered Hunter Biden's laptop as evidence in that case against him. I don't know if it's, I think maybe Delaware, the gun case. Remember in 2020 when the entire media said that this was all fake? Really makes you think. So
Convenient.
yeah, I mean, here yet again, conspiracy theorists, man. What are we? I don't even know if conspiracy theorists are the right word. Like, let's call them what they are. The podcast community, the internet group.
Well,
here's a funny meme for you, though, real quick on topic. Look at this. Who was right? Who was right? The laptop, harmful vax, pandemic, lockdown, environmectin, HCQ, useless face masks, Twitter censorship, Epstein sex island, Ukraine biolabs, child trafficking, Russiagate, fake Steele dossier. Guys, holy smokes. We are batting 1,000, Rev. Batting 1,000.
The only quote unquote conspiracy theory that I can think of that we haven't proven yet is the Area 51 aliens. Like I think that's literally the only theory left on the table that hasn't proven to be true yet. I say yet because if a spaceship full of little gray aliens fell out of the sky right now, I'm pretty sure that most Americans would just still shop and everything else, say, excuse me, walk right around them. Like nobody would even be surprised at this point.
Yo, let me ask you a question. I got to cut you off. In 2020, not only America, but the whole entire world locked themselves in their houses for over a year because of flu-like symptoms. I disagree, and I love disagreeing with you because then we get to debate a little bit for fun, right? But
Right.
I do disagree. I think that if aliens popped out their little heads and landed in Wyoming, I think people would shit fucking bricks and treat it like the deer thing. If they're driving at night and they see a deer, they slow down. Oh, if there's one, there's two. If there's one spaceship, are there more? Where are they? Holy crap. What are we? And I think everybody would panic. It'd be complete uproar. I think that's the reason that Area 51 is as locked down and secure as it is, because they know.
Well, personally, I think Area 51 is nothing more than a testing ground for top secret, vehicles, planes, etc.
I agree.
They said, I want you to think about this. Okay. So they said that they saw what they thought were spaceships over Area 51, but what we currently know as the I think it's the I think it's the new B-51 bomber. It looks like a big boomerang. They call it a fixed wing or a single wing. Yeah, that's where that was developed and tested. And here's the thing about it is that original idea was drawn on napkins and pieces of scrap paper in Auschwitz prison. There's a history behind that. So Operation Paperclip, they brought all of those people over there. Most of those scientists ended up in Area 51, and all it was tech development. I don't personally believe that there's any aliens in Area 51, but like I said, my facetious opinion is at this point, so many other things have come true that I don't know if Americans would. I don't know if Americans would flip out. They'd be like, I knew it.
Let me ask you a UFO question based on what you're saying about your opinions on Area 51. I feel like I know the answer, but so I agree with you with Area 51 being military ops, special tech, some sort of physics that might not be known to the science world, like what Bob Lazar had discovered and talks about. Do you believe that the UFOs captured by the Pentagon and confirmed by the Pentagon, these military pilots, when they're catching these unidentified flying objects, I believe that is the military testing high tech, like exclusive technology. And, that stays within that branch. Yeah. Like if a fighter jet was up there and just so happened to see it, like that pilot's not going to be made aware of this exclusive military testing. So that's my train of thought. It always has been. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say there's not aliens. So nobody can say that. We don't know. The universe is so big. And this is the weird way to word it. Like, we're beings, like human beings with a cognitive ability to digest, analyze, and repeat information. The cognitive thought process, like, are there other cognitive beings out there like that have an operating system similar to the brain? That's the question. Because is there life? Well, life is a broad term. Fungus.
Well, here's the thing is that the laws of probability, like for me, I understand statistical mathematics. I understand laws of probability, and I understand the infiniteness of the universe. And I believe it is entirely likely that there is developed life out there somewhere. I just don't know that we've seen it here yet. And, how much of it have we been played by our own government? Because that's really the center of all of these quote unquote conspiracy theories, is really nothing more than our own government or international governments playing games, playing word games, playing, hide and seek, whatever with information, and causing distractions rather than, just being forthright and honest.
I don't think that aliens would be so quick to interact with us anyway. Look, we're all the same beings, human beings, and it's straight up war and chaos at all time. I mean, just look, World War I what'd that start in, like 1915 or something like that, with the Archduke Ferdinand getting shot or something like that? Isn't that the beginning of World War I? The Archduke? Yeah. So, I mean, that's in like 1913 or 15 or whatever. So it's been right around 100 years. Look at all the wars: World War I, World War II, Vietnam, Korea, what happened in Iraq, everything that's happened in Israel, Gaza, all the other wars in the Middle East with Russia, the fall of the Soviet. Like, guys, it has been an absolute shit show just inside 100 years. Just 100 years. Complete chaos. If you were an extraterrestrial life, extraterrestrial being with a cognitive ability to analyze information, when you're analyzing humans and Earth, you're like, holy fuck, they do not have it figured out. Let's skip out to the next galaxy. Right? I mean, that's just my thought. But Look, we're getting close to the end here, Rev. We really went off
Right.
on. I love where this conversation went tonight.
Right.
We went all over the place, bro.
We
It's good
need
stuff.
to get together and do some long form panel shows where we can, go a little bit off the rails and have fun. There's so much, and here's the reality of it is that there's so much news, there's so much topics that we have to educate ourselves on, that we have to be aware of, that we have to make sure that we understand things for what they are and not let ourselves get ate up with the outrage machine and all of that. And I'm going to tell you one of the ways to do that is freevoicemedia.com. If you go to freevoicemedia.com, we go through a lot of the news and the posts on X and post them there. You get a lot of broadcasters and all of that as well, ambassadors to the website that you can get good information from, have good conversations with, etc. And by the way, as a side note, I'm getting requests too, Chris, that you go ahead and set up a stream on Pilled as well, because a lot of people are saying, hey, we want you in this community. So consider that. But
definitely will.
freevoicemedia.com. Follow us on X, either one of us. Follow me at Real BPL, Boiling Point Live, or follow Chris at Chris's World, and make sure that you check in with us and you see what we're talking about and what we got going on, because we truly believe that this conversation has to be had for all of us, but we have to weed out the garbage, and we have to keep each other on track to what's actually important and what's going on. And particularly, at least from my point of view, the unity. We have to encourage each other to stand together and to stand tall. So that's going to be our message. And if you want to be part of that conversation, then these are all the places that you can find us.
100%, man. That's what it's about. Look, I always tell people this. I'll get asked, like, I really want to participate in a community. I've got limited time. I've got kids. I've got the job. I'm a single parent. But man, if I could I've got an hour or two a night. What can I do? My answer is very simple. And if you're one of those people listening right now, you're doing it currently. Right now, you're doing it. Engage with creators in live chats. Engage with other patriots in the comment section, in the follow trains. Network, get into group chats, meet like-minded individuals, and help spread the information, help spread the truth, right? Without your participation, who knows who gets informed? Think about it like this. I'll reword it. You get on X and you repost something and your followers get hit with that repost. Well, if you weren't on X, who knows if your followers would have ever been exposed to that information? So when you are on X and you're part of this system in spreading the truth and creating these viral trends, you are a part of something. You are participating and you're doing your job, and we appreciate you for it. So, like Rev said, hit him up, hit me up, shoot us DMs. We don't care. Comment on the post, comment on the screen, on the streams. You have any questions? We love the feedback. We love hearing from you for sure. But Rev, are you heading over to another podcast?
Yes, I am. I got like 5 minutes to get set up, so I got to get moving. So for those of you that are hanging out in my chats, for those of you that are hanging out in Chris's chats, hop over to my chats. Give me a few minutes to reset. There's going to be a new stream reset, and then I'm going to go live here in 7 minutes with Pete the Patriot, PTP podcast, and we're going to have the panel show that we normally do on Tuesday nights. So make sure that you're there, are here watching, and we'll see you guys in a minute.
Absolutely love it. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Make sure that you're going over, checking out Rev's next show, and tune in with me tomorrow at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. But have a blessed evening, nonetheless.
We, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, to establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity, do ordain and establish this Constitution for the United States of America. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.